Uh, my name is Pedro Arieta, and I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil, but have been here in New York for a little over 10 years. And I work as a fashion photographer here, and have been living the whole time here in the Lower East Side. And the last few years I've been spending a lot of time in Egypt, where I have been photographing for 15 years now, a specific city called Dahab. So this is when I'm not here. When I'm here, I collaborate with Vogue Brazil very often, and I work on my own publication as well. That's called 8x10 magazine, and it's more of a conceptual periodical that I try to feature photographers from all over the world, both more established and upcoming. What's different about the 8x10 is that the pages are loose, so you can frame them or pin them on your wall, and you don't have to rip a magazine or destroy it. All the pages are printed on one side only for that reason as well. I studied a little bit of photography while I was in high school, and I wanted to study more because I enjoyed studying photography. And what I thought was the best thing for me to do, and thankfully I was able to do it, was to come study in New York. So I did a Bachelor of Fine Arts at the School of Visual Arts and ended up staying. I never planned to stay this long, but it happened. I finished school, and suddenly it's been 12 years. Yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade for anything. This is where I learned to do what I do and get to live with people that are so inspiring. And I think the whole city works like that, makes people want to do better work, and usually the work speaks for itself, the work made here. So yes, it is very difficult to work in New York. I can't speak about everything, but as a fashion photographer, it's so competitive. It gets to be ridiculous, the amount of fashion photographers or photographers that there are in this city. But on the other hand, it makes the work better, and it makes people want to work harder. That ends up happening. I feel work gets pushed further and further. It makes you push yourself, try new things. So there's this incredible, vibrant energy, even though it's so competitive and everybody talks about it, how it's different from other places, specifically regarding this. But there's both sides to it, like everything, you know. So there's a lot of Brazilian people in the fashion industry here in New York. One of the reasons is that we have so many famous fashion models, no, especially women. Which are different subjects. No, maybe a reason why there are so many pretty Brazilian women is because it's such a mixed country and different people from different backgrounds, and that ends up bringing all the other professionals around the models. So there's a lot of photographers, a lot of model agents, a lot of makeup artists, hairstylists, clothing stylists from Brazil, and which is good and bad again. I feel that people in New York are not in New York to work with people from their own country only. New York is like a It's a mix of people, and the best work probably comes out when you mix all the people. But it's also an advantage when there's a job from a Brazilian brand and they want to better communicate with us. Sometimes that can be helpful if, for an instance, English is a sort of barrier. But I feel one of the best things to live in New York is that you get to work with people from all these different places. So about coming to New York, I feel New York is so welcoming, and when people move here it takes them 5 minutes to feel at home because everybody wants to help them and make them feel at home. Probably because everybody did this once, moved here by themselves and had to establish themselves. So I feel the city is very welcoming with this respect. Everybody tries to help you when you move here. It can be scary because the industry here is so competitive and there's so many people wanting to work on it. But I feel it's still receptive to, if you want to work hard and you have the right attitude and the right energy. Those are the most important things when you move here, I feel. If people see that in you, they will want you to be around, even if it's like as an intern or as an assistant when you're starting out. That's more important than your English or your portfolio. It's what you have inside that matters the most in this first moment. Nobody cares if your English is not perfect, or even if your English is very bad. As long as you're able to communicate, it just takes a few words. This is more than enough to get around here. People come from everywhere here and have so different backgrounds and accents, and we all manage to work with ourselves. So yeah, I feel what you have inside is most important. I get asked a lot about equipment from friends that just want to know which camera they should buy, to young photographers, to colleagues. And I think photographers love to talk about the equipment, the brands, the technical aspects. But reality is, when anybody is looking at an image, whether in a magazine, in a museum, or at an outdoor, nobody's thinking about the camera or the equipment. And if it's that comes out, so there's a problem with the picture, because that's not important and it should not be important. What's important, it's the image. It's just each person has a different way to get there. But I don't like to say that there's a correct camera or a better camera. The best camera is the one you have with you. So often that's the phone. With me, often that's the phone. I use all formats and all types of cameras, digital and analog, 35, medium and large, depending on what I'm doing. And after saying all this, I'm gonna show one camera because I think it's people are curious about sometimes, and they not often see this. But this is my favorite camera to use. The work I do in South Sinai are portraits made only with this camera. It's an 8x10 Philips, large format, not field view camera. Yeah, I love it. It's a baby. It is a little big, as you see, and that takes part in the taking of the picture, because it takes me so long to set up and just to prepare or to organize, and when I'm doing a picture, that automatically makes the subject have to stand for this. And of course that can go either way. It's usually something I take advantage of. Yeah, makes people take it a little bit more serious, and they watch me setting up. It puts them at a mental state that I feel I take advantage in the pictures.